Assalamu alaikum and welcome back with another VLSI design lecture. In the last lecture we have studied two major design metrics. The first one is cost of an integrated circuit and the second one is performance. In cost of integrated circuits there are two major sources. The first one is non-recurring engineering cost and the second one is the recurring engineering cost. The non-recurring engineering cost is the fixed cost which has to borne by the every uh, project or product, while recurrent cost is the actual cost of the product. In recurrent cost, we know that the very important factor is the die yield, which is the actual number of functional dies in that chip. In the last lecture, we have a very good example of how to calculate die yield. I will suggest you to try such more examples to get familiar with the uh, die yield and how to calculate the cost of an IC. In the second phase, we have studied performance of any digital circuits. In performance, there are two major attributes: the propagation delay and the power dissipation. Propagation delay actually gives you the measure of the speed of the device, and the power dissipation suggests you about the power consumption and supply voltage requirement and cooling requirements, if any. We have also discussed two major sources of power dissipation in integrated circuits. The first one is dynamic power consumption due to the switching activity of the device, and the other one is the static power consumption due to the inactivity of the device. And finally, we have talked about quality measure of a switching device, that is power delay product, which is a constant metric for a given technology and topology. In today's lecture, we will talk about the functionality and robustness of our design. In this, we will cover noise margins, regenerative property, noise immunity, fan in and fan out of a design. The prime requirements for the circuit is to perform as per requirements. As we can see that if we design an NAND gate or a NOR gate, it has to perform as per its truth table. Or even we are talking about a higher level design. Let's talk about an adder. If we design an adder, then adder needs to add two numbers and add them correctly. The circuit functionality can vary from the expected simulated response. These variations in the actual response of the circuit are due to the variations in the manufacturing process. For example, device dimensions, threshold voltages, device currents can change on a single chip or over multiple chips on a single wafers. The other major factor that can attribute to the variations in the actual response, that is the on and off chip noise sources. As we know that noise margin is a very good metric to measure the robustness of a circuit against any noise, but it is not the sufficient one, as it expresses the capability of a circuit to overpower a noise, while on the other hand noise immunity expresses the ability of the system to process and transmit information correctly in the presence of noise. Many digital circuits with low noise margins have very good noise immunity because they reject a noise source rather than overpower it. For good noise immunity, the voltage swing and the noise margin need to be large enough to overpower the impact of fixed sources of noise. However, the sensitivity to internal sources depends primarily upon the noise suppressing capabilities of the gate. This is proportionally to the gain factors. In the presence of large gain factors, increasing the signal swing does not do any good to suppress noise, as the noise increases proportionally. The steady state parameters or static behavior of a gate measure how robust the circuit is with respect to both variations in the manufacturing process and noise disturbances. The definition and derivation of these parameters requires a prior understanding of how digital signals are represented in the world of electronic circuits. Digital circuits perform operation on logical variables. A logical variable x can only assume two discrete values, 0 or 1. As an example, the inversion or inverter implements the following compositional relationship between two Boolean variables x and y. For example, y is equal to x bar. It implies that if x is equal to 0, y will be 1, and if x is equal to 1, then y will be equal to 0. However, a logical variable is a mathematical abstraction. In a physical world, such a variable is represented by an electrical quantity. This is most often a node voltage that is not discrete but can adopt continuous range of voltage levels. This electrical voltage is turned into a discrete variable by associating a nominal voltage level with each logic state. For example, 1 is associated with high output voltage and 0 is related with the low voltage level. Applying VOH or high logic level to the input of an inverter yields low logic level at the output and vice versa. The difference between these two levels is called the logical or signal swing. The electrical characteristic of a gate is best expressed by its voltage transfer characteristic curve, which plots the output voltage as a function of the input voltage. For example, the VTC or voltage transfer characteristics of an inverter is shown in figure. The x-axis shows the high and low nominal voltages, and y-axis shows the high and low nominal voltages produced as we apply the input at the gate. Another point of interest of the VT is the switching threshold voltage. Switching threshold voltage is the threshold of the gate. It can be found graphically at the intersection of the VTC curve and the line given by V out is equal to V in. We will discuss switching threshold in detail in next few lecture, as it is very important characteristics of the gate, as it tells you about the switching of a gate. Even if an ideal nominal value is applied at the input of a gate, the output signal often deviates from the expected nominal value due to the noise or loading on the output of the gate. If you have connected many gates at the output of a certain gate, the VTC shown in this slide suggests how a logic level is represented in reality by a range of acceptable voltages separated by a region of uncertainty rather than by nominal levels. The regions of acceptable high and low voltages are marked by the VIH and VIL voltage levels respectively in the VTC of the inverter. These are the points where the gain of the voltage transfer characteristic curve equals to -1. The region between VIH and VIL is called the undefined region, also named as transition width. Steady state signals should avoid this region for proper operation of the circuit. A measure of the sensitivity of a gate to noise is given by the noise margins, which actually quantize the size of the legal 0 and 1. For a gate to be robust and insensitive to noise disturbances, it is essential that the 0 and 1 intervals to be as large as possible. Noise margins set a fixed maximum threshold on the noise value. It means that noise cannot exceed this range. There are two types of noise margins: noise margin low and noise margin high. Noise margin low is referred to the zero level, and it is calculated as VIL minus VOL as shown in the figure. Noise margin high refers to the logic level 1, and it is calculated as VOH minus VIH. It is also shown in the figure. The noise margin also represents the levels of noise that can be sustained when the gates are cascaded, as shown in the figure. It is obvious that the margin should be larger than 0 for a digital circuit to be functional. A large noise margin is desirable but not sufficient requirement. Assume that a signal is disturbed by noise and differs from the nominal voltage levels. As long as the signal is within the noise margins, the following gate continues to work correctly, although its output voltage varies from the nominal voltage levels. This deviation is added to the noise injected at the output node and passed to the next gate. The effect of different noise sources may accumulate and eventually force a signal level into the undefined region. This fortunately does not happen if the gate possesses the regenerative property, which ensures that disturbed signal gradually converges back to one of the nominal voltage levels after passing through a number of logical stages. This property can be illustrated with the help of the given figure. For example, an input voltage is applied to a chain of inverters. Assuming that the number of inverters in the chain is even, the output voltage Vout will equal to VOL if and only if the inverter possesses the regenerative property. Similarly, when high input is applied to the input of the first gate, then the output will be VOH if all the gates possesses regenerative property. The gate is said to be regenerative if the gain of the transient region of the VTC is greater than 1 and it is bordered by two legal zones where the gain is less than 1. The regenerative property of a gate can be analyzed with the simple case study given in these two figures. The given figure plots the VDC of an inverter as well as its inverse function, which reverts the function of the x and y axis. Assume that a voltage V naught deviating from the nominal voltage is applied to the first inverter in the chain. The output voltage of the inverter equals V1 and is applied to the next inverter. Graphically, this corresponds to the V1 is equal to F inverse of V2. This signal voltage gradually converges to the nominal signal after a number of inverter stages as indicated by the arrows. While in the regenerative case, the signal does not converge to any of the nominal voltage levels but to an intermediate voltage level, and the characteristic is regenerative. The difference between the two cases is obvious that the gain characteristics of the gates are different. As we know that noise margin is a very good metric to measure the robustness of a circuit against any noise, but it is not the sufficient one, as it expresses the capability of a circuit to overpower a noise. while on the other hand noise immunity expresses the ability of the system to process and transmit information correctly in the presence of noise. Many digital circuits with low noise margins have very good noise immunity because they reject a noise source rather than overpower it. For good noise immunity, the voltage swing and the noise margin need to be large enough to overpower the impact of fixed sources of noise. However, the sensitivity to internal sources depends primarily upon the noise suppressing capabilities of the gate. This is proportionally to the gain factors. In the presence of large gain factors, increasing the signal swing does not do any good to suppress noise, as the noise increases proportionally. Another important factor that actually disturbs the robustness of any system is fan in and fan out. The fan out denotes the number of logic gates that are connected to the output of the driving gate. Increasing the fan out of a gate can affect its logic output levels and performance as well. You people have studies amplifiers, and from this study we know that this effect is minimized by making the input resistance of the load gates as large as possible and by keeping the output resistance of the driving gate as small as possible. This will ensure your nominal logic levels and will not deteriorate the dynamic performance of the gate. With a very large fan out, the dynamic performance or the propagation delay of the gate is increased. For these reasons, many generic and library components define a maximum fan out to guarantee that the static and dynamic performance of the element meets specification. The fan in of a gate is defined as the number of inputs connected to the gate. Gates with very large fan in tend to be more complex, which often results in inferior static and dynamic properties of the system. Based on the observations we have made in the above slides regarding robustness, we can define the ideal digital gate from a static perspective. There is no ideal model, but the ideal inverter model is important because it gives us a metric by which we can judge the quality of actual implementation or correlate the parameters of actual implementations with the ideal one. In the figure you can see the VTC of a digital gate, of an ideal digital gate, and it has the following properties. It has the infinite gain in the transition regions. It has equal high and low noise margins, which is exactly equal to the half of the swing, and gate threshold is exactly located in the middle of the logic swing. The input and output impedances of the ideal gate are infinity and 0 respectively. As we know that ideal VTC is unfortunately impossible in real design. Some implementations such as the static CMOS inverters come really close to the ideal VTC. And if we talk about from performance perspective, then its propagation delay will be very low, its speed will be very high, and it should consume minimum power.